For years, the rule was simple: create great content. But what if I told you that's suddenly the worst advice you could follow? Today, we're going to dig into a completely new playbook for getting your stuff seen in a world where AI really calls the shots. It's a framework called DIRHAM. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The core belief that drove like a decade of content marketing, that if you build it, they will come, it's just broken. Value by itself just doesn't cut it anymore. So what changed? What is this new thing standing between you and the people you're trying to reach? Well, as it turns out, it's not a person at all. It's a whole new set of systems. Right now, we have three incredibly powerful non-human gatekeepers that control who sees what. First, you've got AI summarization systems, the ones that just give people an answer instead of a link to your article. Second, there are the social feed algorithms that decide what's interesting long before anyone even types a search. And third, and this is a big one, private messaging, or what some people call dark social. That's all the sharing happening in places like WhatsApp or Slack. It drives a huge amount of discovery, but is totally invisible. If your work can't get past these three, it's like it doesn't even exist. And to deal with this, you really have to flip your thinking on its head. The old way, the PESO model, paid, earned, shared, owned, that was basically a filing cabinet. It helped you answer, okay, where should we post this thing? But this new model, DIRHAM, it's a visibility system. It starts with a much, much more important question. How does our audience actually find stuff now? So let's get into the solution. This is where the DIRHM framework comes in. It is built specifically for this new reality. And it's not just another list of channels to post on. It's a whole strategy for engineering visibility based on how people and algorithms actually behave today. The framework is built on 6 pillars that are all connected, and each one tackles a key piece of this new discovery puzzle. All right, so let's get into it. What does DIRHAM actually stand for? First up, D is for digital advertising. Now here's the critical shift. You're not just buying eyeballs anymore. The main job of your paid ads now is to kickstart a little burst of engagement right at the beginning. That little burst is a signal that tells the algorithms, hey, people really like this. You should show it to more of them for free. So paid ads don't just deliver an audience. They earn you the algorithmic attention that unlocks organic reach. Next is I for influencer partnerships. Okay, in a world that's getting absolutely flooded with AI-generated content, what do people crave? A real human they can trust. So this isn't about renting an influencer's audience for a day anymore. It's about borrowing their credibility. People are flocking to authentic human voices, which makes trust, not just follower count, the real currency. Let's move to R for regional and local context. Now, this one might seem a little backwards at first, but it is so powerful. By narrowing your focus, you can actually increase your reach. See, generic for everyone content just sends out weak, fuzzy signals. But when you anchor your message in really specific cultural or local details, you give the AI the exact clear data it needs to find your perfect audience. Now we have H for hybrid content. This is where the magic really happens, because this is how you turn your audience into your distribution engine. Hybrid content is stuff that's designed for people to do something. Think quizzes, polls, challenges, gamified experiences. When a user joins in, they're not just engaging with you, they are actively spreading your message for you. And that creates a compounding effect that no ad budget could ever buy. And A stands for AI visibility. Honestly, you can just think of this as the new SEO. AI answer engines like ChatGPT and Gemini don't care about clever, witty headlines. They reward reliability and super clear structure. So we're talking simple headers, clear sentences, and citing your sources. The goal is no longer just to rank on Google. It's to be the trusted source that an AI quotes directly in its answer. And finally, M for measuring outcomes. This is what makes the whole system smart. The rule here is dead simple. If a metric doesn't directly tell you what to do next, it's a vanity metric. It's useless. So forget about impressions and follower counts. Focus on what actually matters. Metrics that show a real change in your audience's behavior. Okay, so theory is great, right? But what does this actually look like when it's put into practice? Let's check out a real-world example that was built on these exact principles. The UAE's ridiculously successful World's Coolest Winter campaign. And the results? I mean, they kind of speak for themselves. We're not talking about soft metrics here. We're talking 12.5 billion dirhams in hotel revenue, 5 million guests, and an insane 84% hotel occupancy rate across the entire country. These are real-world, tangible outcomes. So the big question is, how on earth did they pull this off? They did it by engineering something they called a signal storm. The secret sauce, the core idea, was to generate this massive, concentrated wave of authentic, organic content that was so powerful that all those AI systems and social algorithms had no choice but to notice and amplify it. And here's how they stitched all the pieces of the DIRHAM framework together. They used paid ads, specifically short-form video on places like TikTok, to ignite the algorithms. They sent out a whole bunch of different influencers on specific missions to build that targeted trust. They got hyper-specific with their content, framing it as adventure for English speakers and heritage for Arabic speakers. And as the final touch, they launched a gamified digital passport that turned millions of visitors into active content creators themselves. It was brilliant. That is a fantastic case study for sure. But how do you take these ideas and turn them into your own playbook? The key is to see how all these pillars work together, not as separate items on a checklist. And this shows the flow perfectly. The most important thing to get is that DIR is not a linear, step-by-step thing. It's a continuous loop. It's a cycle that improves itself. Digital ads kick it off, influencers build the trust, regional context sharpens the relevance, and hybrid content gets people involved. But that last step is crucial. Measuring the outcomes doesn't just tell you what happened. It directly fuels the strategy and the budget for the next cycle. Look, if you forget everything else from this, just remember these 4 principles. 1. Visibility in this new era has to be engineered. It doesn't just happen by accident. 2. A small amount of strategically visible content will beat a huge volume of unseen content every single time. 3. In the age of AI, authentic trust is way more valuable than slick corporate polish. And 4, the only metrics that matter are the ones that actually change what you do next. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. The non-human gatekeepers are already in charge, the way people discover things has been completely rewired, and the strategies that worked even just last year are feeling right now. So the only question left to ask yourself is, are you ready to adapt?